can regress to childhood, and with the right questions, we can go back even further to past life events, past life memories, or dreamscapes, or whatever the subconscious needs to show you at the time. And so I've done this about 1,000 times with people from all over, and everyone can do this. And I guess it doesn't really matter if it's what.
So welcome to the Heart-Based Hospital podcast, and today's conversation goes deep. I'm joined by a certified hypnotherapist, Jonathan Robinson. So Jonathan specialises in past life regression and transformational subconscious work that releases old patterns, shifts emotional blocks, and brings powerful clarity into everyday life. Welcome to the podcast, Jonathan.
Thank you so much, Jacqui.
Excited to have you here. I always start these podcasts with asking how Jonathan got to now being a hypnotherapist.
Okay, yeah. So I'm born and raised in Grosse Ile, Michigan. So I'm from the States, and I've always wondered the big picture question in life. What happens after we die? What's our purpose? Why are we here? And I started reading these spiritual books, past life regression books by Michael Newton, Dolores Cannon. And I thought to myself, it shattered my paradigm of what's real and what this life is about. So I started meditating, and eventually I just came across this, and I thought it was so fascinating that I wanted to share it with the world. So what that is and what that means is in hypnotherapy is basically a guided meditation. Anyone out there that's scared of it or whatnot, it's just you guiding yourself to go into a deep state of relaxation. And in that deep state of relaxation, we go to the theta frequency, the frequency of hypnosis, or right before sleep, or when we're channeling or meditating. And the subconscious is able to absorb a suggestion. I've done this before where I hypnotize the host of a podcast, and then we talk about it on the podcast. So it's kind of risky. If it doesn't work, what are we going to talk about? It's always worked. So we have patterns and I see patterns and cycles in my sessions a lot. So people repeat different things, whether it be relationship good things or relationship trauma. Some people, the universe will test us until we pass the test. And the essence of who we are will transfer from body to body, like your character and personality and special interests. But then your body will switch. We could be male and female, rich and poor, black skin or white skin, light skin or dark skin in past lives. So we switch different cultures. But the interest is what's wild. And I just had a session with someone who was a horse breeder in a past life. They're wealthy. They owned a business. And in this life, they always used to draw horses when they were little, when they're 4 years old. And they're also a business owner and taking care of animals in this life.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, I can see it. I always tell this story. I was roller skating during the pandemic because we were locked up inside, but we were allowed outside to exercise. So a bunch of us were meeting to roller skate. And so I'd roller skated as a child. And then here I was as an adult, sort of bringing it back in and still pretty tentative. And this woman showed up, never ever been on roller skates in her life, and put on a pair of roller skates and just whizzed off and did all these whirly things. And I was like, that is not possible. Like, how is that possible? So I wholeheartedly believe she's had a roller skate experience in her past life.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. So on my Instagram, I just posted a story about I post children's past lives
Mhm.
because some reason people believe children more than adults, but I think it's because they're so innocent. Like, how does a 4-year-old, this 4-year-old was like, Mom, remember when we were Japanese and I was the dad and you were the child? And then the kid will draw like Japanese symbols and like know about the culture when it's 4 years old. So how do they know? And I just did a story on a really interesting children's past life story about someone just picked up a guitar. A kid just picked up a guitar and started playing and singing. And he's like, Mom, yeah, I remember I used to, go around from town to town, in my band. And so they researched the band, the person's name, and they found a person
Wow.
similar to them. So sometimes in these sessions, you can do investigations and investigate like who that person was if it's a most recent past life.
Mm. I've just been listening to the telepathy tapes. I don't know if you know that podcast, and they're
Yeah.
just talking about savants, and some of the savants are born with this gift, and others might have a knock to the head or some sort of event. And one of them, he had a knock to his head, and he's now this amazing musician, and he now sees music and images and in food, and yeah, he's this amazing musician now. Like, wow, so cool. But I know I've had a past life session many years ago, and something that came up for me was that I was imprisoned in and continuously impregnated. So was in a woman's prison. And I found it really interesting because I've always really found women prison programs really interesting. And even from a young age, there was a soap opera. Well, it wasn't really a soap opera, similar to a soap opera, but called Prisoner. And all the other ones that have come through since. And I've always like been really interested, and I've always been really interested and have written letters to people in prison who I've felt have been wrongfully imprisoned, um, incarcerated. So when I heard that one, I was like, yeah, that actually really fully lands.
Hmm.
So when I got Emilia Earhart, I was like, yeah, that sounds like me.
I'll tell you a quick story though. I was doing a past life session a few months ago, and this lady from California who's a singer wanted help because she hesitates to going on stage. She doesn't know why, but she loves singing and she's really good at it. And so we did it, and she hates Egypt, and had a she has a phobia, which is kind of strange. She doesn't like to go in close spaces like elevators, even if she does, she'll bring snacks in case she gets stuck. She calls
Wow.
her mom before she goes in elevators, texting her location. Really interesting phobia, right? It was super normal for her. She didn't even mention it prior to the session. So we do this session. We go to a few past lives, and I bring her to Egypt. And she's a priestess. She's beautiful. She sings like just like this life. That pattern repeats. She's a singer. She does rituals. She had fun with other priestesses. She used crystals for healing. And one day the pharaoh was extremely negative, but he was like that to everybody. And she put her foot down and said, "You can't do that anymore. I'm standing up for myself." And the Pharaoh punished her for using her voice. He punished her to the dungeon of the pyramids. In the dungeon, he put her in a 6 by 6 small room. She was shivering, it was musty down there, and that's where she perished. She starved to death, resulting in finding out her phobia of the elevators, bringing snacks, and afterward, her voice, she was able to sing better and she doesn't hesitate performing anymore because she doesn't need to protect herself from that anymore.
Oh, that is a cool story. That is a cool story. Yeah.
Yeah, a lot of fears, phobias, birthmarks. If you have something like that, I had someone who drowned in a past life on the bottom of a ship, and they've never gone swimming in this lifetime. I had
Wow.
someone who died in a tsunami, and they were scared of swimming. So after the session, we find that out. It alleviates you, from a lot of different things. Fear of heights. Someone fell off a bridge. So
Yeah. Well, I think that's with getting that message of not enoughness. I was like came out of that. I'm like, well, I'm not available for that. That's so old code. I'm not available for that. I'm all I'm all about, we're we've we're here for this and more. So yeah, it's been a real reminder that, that's so deeply embedded inside of us. And
yeah.
if it was true, then I wouldn't have achieved what I've achieved now. So yeah, so I was like, no, I'm not available for that. Thank you, but I'm not available for that.
Oh, good,
Yeah,
good. That's a huge thing, Jackie, and everyone out there, just know that you are enough. You are more than enough, and you deserve all the love in the world because a lot of times we forget that abundance is within us, and we have so much support beyond the veil. Is if you can't see them in the 3D, there's beyond the veil rooting for you, and they always tell me to ask for help. So pray, ask for help, however you do it. Sometimes we don't fit in, a society is this or that, but everyone's so different. We all have our own fingerprint, our voice, our style. We can dance. Everyone's unique. We all have gifts. Taking away the fear because, it's actually really gentle. I do it every day. So,
Yeah, I agree.
um,
Yeah. And it was very gentle, wasn't scary. I felt beautifully rested afterward.
a lot of people tell me that was the most relaxed I've been in years, and I'm like, well, wonderful. You should do
Yeah.
this more often,
Yeah.
It's something everyone can do, and with my app, they can do it more often. I was working a job where I didn't really like my life. I was making great money, but I felt empty inside, and I didn't know what to do next with my life. My spiritual awakening was much like many of these listeners, perhaps. It was pretty hard. So, lost my job, lost a girlfriend, lost a lot of my friends, and kind of went through a dark night of the soul. I went into kind of isolation or hibernating, and I started reading and developing my skills and kind of came out with this new career. And it started slow, like a lot of spiritualpreneurs. So I started substitute teaching, which is great for public speaking. If anyone wants to make money and public speak, you can do substitute teach. The kids love it. And then eventually I just do this past life regression, hypnotherapy, PTSD, trauma release. I help people overcome challenges and get unstuck. I listen to it daily, and it's called Journeys into the Subconscious, so you can get past those fears and phobias within a few sessions. That's
What?
so needed because
Yeah.
a lot of people just don't want to mask the pain with pills, and it's, dangerous with side effects, and it doesn't get to the root cause. So getting to the root cause to create that lasting change is what people want. But it's a kind of an education thing too. We don't know what Reiki or flower essences or hypnotherapy does, but that's why I'm here. That's what I share things on my Instagram, and that's why I try to be the best version of myself to help uplift everyone else around me. I guess I've always had this personality that wants to make the room happy, everyone in the room, better. But I didn't know what to do until I found this gift or this skill that I've acquired, and now I actually teach it as well. But I just want to share this with people. So one, I hope by the end of this, I'll have also a book about eventually too. But I hope it eliminates fear of death, because it's not the end. Don't
Yeah.
give up. Anyone out there with your modalities, learn more modalities, learn business skills, learn marketing, and there's enough, there's people out there that need healing. They need help, and you can be that light for them. And so we can go into it with a guided meditation that we do. And then we can make changes. We can clear trauma that happened out to us. In regression, we can regress to childhood. And with the right questions, we can go back even further to past life events, past life memories, or dreamscapes, or whatever the subconscious needs to show you at the time. And so I've done this about 1,000 times with people from all over, and everyone can do this. And I guess it doesn't really matter if what matters is, does it heal? And yes, it does. It does, whether it's real or memories or whatever it may be. That's not the important thing. The important thing is the transformations that are made in this.
I got to experience a session with you last week, which was amazing, and I'd love to share with the listeners more about that. I thought just the whole lead up was really good. You sent a couple of meditations, so I got to really understand and experience your energy and the way that you spoke. So that when we had our session, and you also invited me to set some intentions, which I went pretty hard on. So I set mine around the multi dimensions of myself, and really wanted to make an opportunity. So it wasn't the first time I've experienced it, but first time with you. And I really loved how you set the scene. So helping us understand that what we're feeling, seeing, hearing, tasting is might feel like an imagination, but it also is a great way for us to experience and understand. And I think you kind of led into it too, like when we're seeking the external, it doesn't really fill us up. But when we go in, and that's what I felt like. I felt like I was really going inside myself and inside my soul and really connecting in with that. And it was a really beautiful experience. Um, yeah, I wonder if you could share a little bit about what it's like for you to deliver it, and then I'm happy to share more about my experience.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that heartfelt about what we did, and for everyone out there. So we did a hypnotherapy, a past life regression, and so with your session it was really interesting. So we guided you back with some guided imagery. I sent you some recordings to listen to prior, so it got you really comfortable. And then yeah, thank you for sharing that about the experience. I've been doing this a while, so I try to make the pre-talk and the introduction really clear. So we set our intentions because it's really important to set those good intentions. And I think you're more advanced, so you were kind of bouncing around between the different places, and it was showing you quite a bit of different scenery, buildings, visions.
It definitely felt like I was pre-sleep. Like I was thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to fall asleep? Um, but I didn't. And then through your guidance, like I actually felt like I flew over several lives. Like I was sort of looking down and was like, oh, and like was excited because like, oh my gosh, which one am I going to land on? And it was your guidance that kind of I sort of flew through a few.
And don't forget, you had Amelia Earhart
I
energy as
did.
well,
I did.
Jay. Amelia Earhart. So you may have had her essence, you may have been her, or there might have been an imprint there of her energy.
Yeah, it was all very reassuring and really like coming back to word anchoring, really anchoring for me, kind of experiencing what I experienced, given
Yeah.
the sort of work that I'm doing.
A lot of times children sometimes get night terrors and they're remembering the most recent one. A lot of people are drawn to a certain era, like Egyptian or Wild West or Roman times. People just meet each other and they're just instantly friends or they know each other,
Yeah.
familiarity. I learned hypnotherapy, I learned Reiki, breath work, and each one of my clients started going into their past lives. And now I've done this with people from all over the world, all different religions and cultures. And the one thing is true, they can all go into these past life memories that have significance, meaning, and impact for their current situation. I'm not a psychic. I guide my clients to a deep state of relaxation so they see. So a lot of my clients, like you, got visions, knowings, or feelings, or a combination of those senses. And it shows us metaphors or however best that person individual will relay the information, whatever is most important will surface and it'll guide you through those different scenes and realms. I love it when my clients after the session they'll say like Anunnaki, or they'll say reptilian, or they'll say like a name of something. And then I'll ask them, did you know about that prior to this? And they'll say, no, like I didn't know about it. And because I know somewhat, but yeah, the it's not random what is seen and shown and what, the clients experience and say. There's a reason for it. So I'm really glad you researched it after. It has a lot of correlations with what you're doing now too, with this podcast and what you're promoting, everything. And so that's Amelia Earhart. She's groundbreaking. She's, opening people's minds to what's expanding them, and that's kind of similar to what you're doing. I just developed an app called Journeys into the Subconscious, and it has a lot of my sessions are on there. There's daily sessions, there's journeys, there's custom sessions. You can put your I'm afraid of peanut butter, a weird like a phobia, and uh it'll read to you in my voice the therapy session. So
Wow.
it's I wanted to provide that to everybody because not everyone can afford a past life one-on-one session. It's like an experiment. We can do it over and over, and we all go into these memories. And I hope it'll eliminate discrimination as well because we're all just spirits in a body. We just look different on the outside. So we've all been all the different cultures, and it'll help people treat each other more kindly, I think, with a love frequency as well.
If we gather more of us, then it's we can ripple effect so much goodness out into the world, which it needs, right?
Yeah, journeys into past lives. So journeys into past lives on Instagram and my website and bunch of social media. So find me on there. I post daily spiritual posts, more content of me, and just helping people understand what hypnotherapy is. Yeah, after everyone, if you haven't checked out our other episodes, there's a lot of amazing episodes. So check it out. And yeah, thanks so much for having me.
You're most welcome. Talk to you soon.